As I've gotten older, I have began to learn a key principle, and that is you can only run from your pain. You can only run from traumatic experiences from your childhood. You can only run from your dysfunction for so long before it catches up to you. And my story as an unfaithful spouse is, it's pretty terrible when you really think about it. And I didn't know that I was running from my pain. I really didn't. You see, for me, I was a workaholic. That's how I ran from my pain. I was an adrenaline junkie, still kind of am, but as you get older, it dissipates because the recovery time is longer. But it's part of the way that I run. I would work like crazy. I mean, I would work 12 and 14-hour days at the drop of a hat. I immersed myself in working and traveling, and it was this seductive trap. It was a way that I could escape the guilt and the conviction and the enormous condemnation I felt for being involved in a 2.5-year affair. It was the way that I ran. I mean, how did I run? By traveling on a plane every week to speak anywhere and everywhere I could, by working 12-hour days all the time, by going out to all hours of the night to not only work but to be with friends and just escape reality. I would immerse myself in adrenaline and riding motocross and finding a way to not have to confront the darkness and the pain and the uncertainty and the confusion and the fatherlessness and the childhood trauma and the abandonment. And I could go, I don't have enough fingers to go on to all the things that I would try and outrun. Now, what made things worse was I was really good at it. And so here's what I was trying to do, and then I was met with success, and so I would be pursued, and there was all this momentum because it was just this seductive trap, because I didn't know that I was running, but I was running, and then I had all these people handing me water saying, yeah, come on, keep going, keep going. And then I was very good at it, and it all seemed like it was working. And the biggest victim in all this was Samantha, because Samantha was here left for dead, just kind of left to deal with me and my craziness. She felt incredibly hampered by the fact that I had built this wonderful fortress around me. I was adored by so many people. I was hated by a lot, but anybody that hated me, I could banish to outside of my own personal kingdom. I was adored, I was celebrated, God was using me, I was met with success. I didn't have much failure at all in my life. And I say all these things to tell you the private hell that Samantha lived in and the private hell that I was running from. The problem is you can only run so long. For those of you that are believers and subscribe to faith, you'll understand that God has a timetable on your ability to run. He really does. And that time ran out. For those of you that are not believers, I'm confident in the fact that there is a point that we are going to come to the end of ourselves, and we cannot keep up the persona any longer. We cannot keep up the game any longer, and it comes to an end. And unfortunately, lots of people are caught in the balance of the chaos. Here's a few observations that I need to tell you so that you can understand more about this running. Number one, I wasn't even really aware that I was running. I just felt good, and I felt adrenaline, and I was happy. But I didn't realize, I was not self-aware with what I was doing to a lot of people around me. I wasn't aware that I was running, but I was running. Number two, I wasn't aware of how dark the darkness was. And as I explained a few minutes ago, when the crash came hard. It was, I was definitely suicidal because the crash was so hard. You can run, but eventually the train is going to arrive in the station. And when it does, look out, because it's going to be like an atom bomb in your own heart or in your spouse's heart. Number 3, incidentally, Samantha admits to being codependent throughout the affair. That doesn't mean that she empowered the affair. That just means she was dealing with her own issues of codependency, and Rick even helped her see that. And so it was the perfect storm. Here's me, the darkness, the chaos, the hurt, the pain, running, and here's her in her own form of running. She was codependent and afraid to draw a line in the sand. She had tried to reach out, and she was only met with shame and condemnation from the leaders in our lives. And so she was now, at some level, running from her own pain and trauma. And she was codependent to the point where, man, we were a total mess. It started with me, believe me. And I had damaged her so well that she didn't even know how damaged she was. Today is kind of a dark blog, I know. I don't have, 4 steps or 5 steps to redeem or change running or any of that. But I will tell you now, I'm painting a picture of how dark it was, because right now, Samantha and I are so self-aware that she knows when I'm starting to put my running shoes on, and I know when she's putting her running shoes on. Just this morning, I was driving to the office, and there's a lot going on. And I was tempted to just kind of respond to a couple of email or some guys that I'm trying to help with some stuff and some baseball for my kids and all these different issues, right? And I was so easily tempted to run and not be present and not be self-aware and to do something to hide from my reality, which for me is a dark temptation to start the descent into relapsing behavior. We are so self-aware that immediately I was able to say a quick prayer, go through some of my things that I do, which is I pray, I listen to some really good redeeming music, I make sure I'm eating right, and I make sure I'm drinking right, and staying hydrated, and staying on vitamins, and staying connected with Samantha. And so we had a good little texting moment, and it was great. Man, I feel like $1 million today. I really do, because we're aware of our darkness, and we are no longer running from our darkness.